afternoon, or good evening. My name is Ian, and welcome to Mazumba Missions. If you are new here, the aim of this channel is mainly for me to share my travels with friends, family, and whoever else actually cares to watch, while also giving myself an additional purpose as I'm exploring. During my last mission, I went on a solo expedition to test out my new setup that I had put on the real star of the show, my Toyota Land Cruiser 79 Series Bakkie. I left from Johannesburg in South Africa and ventured through parts of Botswana, Namibia, and Zambia. I know, maybe not the smartest places to test out a new overlanding rig, since a lot of it was quite remote. But aside from a few annoying or sad equipment failures, everything that needed to work for me to survive and complete the journey did so beautifully. Which brings me to the end of the last episode of the first mission. I had spent a relaxing Christmas and New Year's in Livingstone, Zambia, but now I had to make my way back to Johannesburg, which meant another fun 1,200 kilometers that I needed to drive within a day. I started off late from Livingstone and pushed through to sleep near Francistown, Botswana. Another awesome 3 hours of sleep awaited me, and I got up at 2 a.m. to push through and complete the rest of the drive into South Africa and then to Johannesburg. Bear in mind that I kept my speed at a maximum of 100 kilometers an hour, as to try avoid selling my soul to pay for the diesel. These cruiser boys sure are thirsty. After a long day of podcasts and admiring the beautiful green scenery all the way down, I finally made it to Johannesburg, where I was greeted by some awesome thunderstorms and lots of traffic. I spent about a week and a half in Joburg to address some of the equipment issues, add some things that I needed, and to help pack up the apartment that we had stayed in for the previous year. We were preparing for the next mission, one much longer than the previous. An attempt to explore much of South Africa itself, especially along the coast. Joining me on this next mission would be my two precious ladies, my beautiful girlfriend Megan and our Botswana bush cat turned Johannesburg apartment cat, Chicken. I was undoubtedly very excited to have some travel partners to keep me company on the road. Lots of organizing and packing later, we were finally ready to embark on the next mission. Our first main destination would be the Blyde River Canyon in the Mpumalanga province, but more on that later because we didn't go there directly. We of course needed to make a trip of it, so we made some stops before then. The first stop was near Dullstroom, which we only found out later is actually the highest town above sea level in South Africa, with an incredible landscape to go with it. So far so good with our little chickie. She seemed to be enjoying the views just as much as we were. We were hosted by family of friends who made our first night an awesome one to start off with. Thanks so much to John and Sharon for your incredible hospitality and the awesome care package of meat that you sent along with us, especially that waterbuck droewors. The following day, we set off along an incredibly scenic road through some small mountain passes. It really blew me away to see the nature in this area, because I had expected something completely different. I honestly expected thick bush like in the Kruger National Park, but instead we got beautiful grassland all over the mountains and koppies. A perfect transition to our next destination, a small town called Graskop, which is situated on the edge of a breathtaking escarpment, overlooking the low veld leading down to the Kruger National Park and eventually Mozambique and the Indian Ocean. This would be the location for our very first campsite on this trip, and definitely still one of my personal favorites so far, due to the incredible views. It would also be the first time that Maggie and Chicky camped with the new setup, and it's safe to say that they both really enjoyed it, especially because of all the cool new trees that Chicky could climb. One of our days in Graskop, we decided to go for a small hike and to take our Chicky with. We had gone for some small walks with her before, so she kind of understood the mission, but she's still a cat and definitely was not very fit after her apartment cat lifestyle the previous year. So we had some backup plans for her to be able to rest while we kept on moving. The hike was a little more challenging than we expected due to overgrown trails that sometimes led to mild bundu bashing. But we eventually found a nice spot to sit, relax, have some snacks, and let the little one wander around. All in all, we had a really nice first few days in Graskop to relax and ease into our new lifestyle, which was definitely a huge blessing looking back, because we had great weather and facilities that made it a very chill transition compared to some of the other places we'd find ourselves in later on in this trip. With that said, it was eventually time for us to move on to visit the aforementioned main goal of the first part of this trip. And so we packed up and were off on a short drive to the north, where we eventually started seeing signs that we were on the right track. Not long after, we arrived at the largest wet canyon in the world, the Blyde River Canyon, where, as usual, a video just cannot truly represent the incredible views. We decided to head to a campsite at the bottom of the canyon, which meant driving down the escarpment and eventually seeing the views from a completely different but still breathtaking angle. We then arrived at Swadini, a forever resort, which must have arguably one of the most beautiful campsites in the whole of South Africa. Luckily, we were there during the low season, so we had lots of spots to choose from, and after a bit of a dud the first night, came across this magnificent spot. Sure to capitalize on what the campsite could offer, and aside from our cat going AWOL once or twice, we had a really fun few days. We even made some new friends. Our stay there was so worth it and provided a blissful experience in nature before an unexpected adventure that would take us to a completely different environment. But I'll say that for next episode. Thank you so much for watching, and please keep up to date on our socials to see any updates and when the next episode will be out. Otherwise, you can subscribe and hit the bell icon to get the relevant notification when I do release the next episode on YouTube. Thank you again, and I hope you have a great day. Until next time.